Hello.
Good morning.
Who's here?
This is Tyler, bright and early.
Good morning, Tyler. Pete here.
Hey, Pete,
Hey, Pete.
this is Nate.
Hey, dude.
Hi, Sergio.
Going.
Is everybody excited for this weekend?
So what's going on this weekend?
Sean's having a bunch of people down to his place in Long Beach Island, is my understanding.
Oh, cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That'll be cool to meet everyone too.
I live in Jersey City, so it's not close, but it's not far.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Pete here.
This is Roy.
Hey, what's up, brother? Happy
How you
to
guys
have
doing?
Good. I see we have Craig, we have Michael, we have Nate, we got Tyler, Sergio,
Good morning.
David. Good morning, everyone. Happy to have you here on this beautiful Friday, looking at the beach here in Long Beach Island. Looking forward to a weekend of acceleration with the team and Sean, and God willing, a lot of you in the future as well.
It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. I'm already packed.
Beautiful. You're on your way over, Pete?
I have appointments that are in that direction, so
Great.
I'm already in the car traveling to Edison. And
Beautiful.
so my understanding is that you guys are opening your doors around 12 or 1.
12 o'clock, it is the start time, Pete. But we would love you to make it whenever you make it.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we're just going to wait it up. I know Sean is jumping on real soon. How's everyone been since yesterday's conversation? Any thoughts? Anything that they're present to at the moment? Anyone? Hello?
Yeah, so I've got some. This is Nate Fernando.
Hey, Nate. Yeah, what's up, man?
So I went to a quote unquote networking meeting yesterday, and I started to put into action the formula. And as I was going through it, I was tripping through it, and I seized up and didn't know what to do, and so I fell into back into my old habits. But the takeaway from that was after the event, I went back to my car and I started to analyze what I've gone through, whereas before I didn't have the tools in order to do that. And so I wanted to thank you and Sean and everyone else here that has helped me to start to see what I don't see. And I'm walking away from that event as a win, because even though in some eyes it would be a failure, at least I can analyze it and prepare myself for next time and hopefully improve.
Yes, I love that. That's powerful. Thank you for seeing that opportunity for yourself. The formula is, many things, and a way to look at it. It's not this and it's not this. It's a toolbox, and it's great that you were able to sit, digest. Time blocking, journaling is a key part of self-mastery. Sean creates just like you did. He sits, he analyzes, he thinks. And that's amazing that you were able to kind of play with yourself like that. That's what's going to lead to more mastery. So congratulations to you, Nate.
Hey, Fernando. Good morning,
Yes.
Nate.
Good morning.
We were just talking about Nate's reach out. Was that we're talking about something else?
We were talking about how Nate went to a networking function, so an ecosystem merging opportunity, as we call it, and he was using the formula. We had shared yesterday how sometimes he uses it, then he stops. There's things that come up. Yesterday, something came up, and he, in his language, went back to his old ways. The takeaway and the breakthrough was that after he was digesting, sitting in his car, he was able to analyze his experience through the lens of the formula, and that's leading towards mastery. So that's what we just finished sharing.
Nate, congratulations. Fernando, great job yesterday. Feedback was awesome, and everybody with all your participation. What I would say to Nate and to all of you, right, so we're talking to anybody, we're talking to everyone, is one, let's never define ourselves in a limiting way, ever, right? Like, so we're all just unlocking our amazingness in communicating and influencing. Two, for some of us, and I'm not saying this is Nate, but for some of us, it might take a little longer, just like it took a little longer to learn to ride a bicycle, just like it took a little longer to learn to read. But this is going to become a natural, fluent part of the process. And the way it does is by doing what Nate did, by going out and using it consistently, and not getting frustrated is okay, but let's not get frustrated even at any point. Let's just keep learning just like Nate did. That's a beautiful model of how we can approach it. So awesome job. With that said, happy Fun Friday. My Fun Friday just launched in this late October chilly morning by jumping into the Atlantic Ocean. So that was a fantastic way to get in the state. And with that said, I want to touch on a little bit of self-mastery this morning, and plus answer any thoughts and questions we have, but not generally, well, a little bit generally, but also tailored into accelerating our human influence as well as our marketing and sales. So for all of us, self-mastery, as we use that term in our unblinded sales mastery, is the mechanism of getting ourselves to take zone action. Simplest statement possible, getting ourselves to take zone action. Zone action is defined as the most efficient action step, at the time in the moment. It could also be called highest and best use, right? But I am a proponent, have been for 20 years, of calling it zone action. It's like targeted action, like right in the zone. Like there's a zone of action that is what we need to be taking, and there's a zone that's not. And zone action, a couple challenges with zone action. Number one, the challenge is that it changes over time. So and it could feel like more work. So this week, I acquired, as hopefully all of you are acquiring, new assets, new positive things. My ecosystem expanded. Great things happened, okay? But when great things happen and we acquire new assets, ecosystem expansion, it can equal more work. So example, I just went and spoke in front of 80 of the 80 people leading the 56,000 realtors in the state of New Jersey. Presidents, the president, 3 past presidents, the full-time executive director, who's an employee lobbyist with the state, and 76 more people that run every county. Well, it's actually broken into 13. New Jersey is more than that, but 13 regions of New Jersey. So what do? Because zone action the day before that happened would have been different than the day after that happened. And I would have had a schedule set. I would have had times blocked in my process mastery. So emotionally, what happens at some level is the thrill and exhilaration of something great and new happening. It's like, awesome, yes, like, great. But going in, it could have gone, sort of 2 different ways. I could have gone, and people could have been very happy with me. And it could have, and this is a phenomenal example of post meetings and speaking engagements, or like Nate went to a networking function that you go to. So, and how self-mastery fits in. So what it could have resulted in, as well as process mastery, it could have resulted in is simply me speaking, and getting 4 to 6 business cards afterwards. People lined up, but it was a rapid exchange. So maybe it was 10, interactive face-to-face meetings that I had. And it could have been that. It could have been 5, it could have been 10, it could have been 15. And then that would have produced some level of zone action follow-up. And what that zone action follow-up would have been for me, number one, is asking the person that brought me in, which is Dan Geltrude, and the president who brought him in, if it'd be appropriate to get the contact information for everyone that was there. That would have been a zone action step. Okay. Second, a zone action step would have been to reach out and contact all of those people. Right. A process mastery step, right? If we're optimizing, and I'm thinking about this. Thank you, for the gift of these conversations daily, because they sharpen me. Because not only am I now doing this for my Callaghy Law team, but doing this, with lots of different folks doing lots of different things in the world. And so what that would have looked like is time blocking to make all those follow-ups. But what happened to make all those appropriate follow-ups and begin the process of going from hello to yes, and knowing what yes looks like. For me, the yes would look like, or the introduction would look like a thank you. It would look like a deep acknowledgement and validation. And then it would look like a response saying, listen, it seemed like everybody felt that there's great feedback. Any advice from you about the day? Advice is an operative word. We don't want to ask for feedback. Feedback equals criticism. There's studies on this. It's source Robert Cialdini's book and the studies he cites in it on influence. Which is different than what we're doing. It's more subtle psychological dynamics. That's a story for a different day. We will touch on his work in our program here. But it looks like advice, and then a proposal to say, hey, would it be okay to have a quick 15-minute conversation to see what we can co-create together? So the key would be moving towards a meeting of sorts. Now, and then what we do from there. We're not going to talk about what we do from there today. So, but the meeting ended up much better than that. The meeting ended up with me getting contact information automatically. Like, they gave me the contact information for the 80 people, at least an email. So then the question becomes, what do I do? 80 people is a significant number, but it's not an astronomical number. So in short, I made the assessment. Well, and when I thought about doing this, emotionally, I felt overwhelmed. I felt too busy. I felt like I can't. But emotionally, what I felt like doing, the idea, the vision, so my higher self, my zone action self, said make an individualized BombBomb video. Fernando introduced me to BombBomb, which is the ability to put a video embedded into an email that's personalized to every single person. It's 80 videos. And if I did it 30 to 45 seconds, it'll take me, probably at the end of the day, it'll take me a couple hours, my part. And then my team could take it from there. And then emotionally, and here's where self-mastery comes in, I felt like it's too much, I can't do this. But in service of what we're building and growing, connecting with these folks, this is an extremely zone action step because these are people that want and need what we have here tremendously. But the emotional piece is the sticking point for most of us. We could know what to do, our process mastery. We can be developing incredible influencing skill sets. But if our self-mastery isn't there and tight, nothing happens. So why am I jumping in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, after driving 12 and a half hours across the last 2 days, going all over the state of New Jersey and Pennsylvania for the incredible folks at the Pennsylvania Foundation for the Blind, which I couldn't feel more honored and privileged to have done the work that we did there yesterday. Just an utterly phenomenal day. And so why get up early? Why go on the beach when it's cold? And why jump in the ocean when it's cold? And why work out last night at 11 p.m. or 10:30, it's like 10:15 to 11 p.m. before I drove down 2 hours back to Long Beach Island. I drove south, west, north, and back south again in the last 2 days. And the answer is because our self-mastery is rooted in a formula. And I will give you, a couple of quick takeaways. For some of you that have heard me speak before, I've talked about having your own formula for feeling amazing. I want to drill down simply into physiology today. And we're going to talk regularly about self-mastery, which is, by the way, of course, the third pillar of the results formula: process mastery, influence mastery, self-mastery. And I will tell you, and this is like the big reveal this morning on Fun Friday, the big reveal is that process mastery is the easiest thing to learn because it's intellectual. It's just knowing like what you're going to do and getting a rhythm and a sense for it. It's not easy, it's assured, but it's quite simple. Ecosystems, frictionlessness, it's just getting a sense of what an ecosystem is. It's seeing things quickly. It's understanding dynamics of where we're going to go from ecosystem to frictionlessness to sales meetings to sales. It's just like having a rhythmic sense of that, which comes quite quickly. Influence mastery is harder than process mastery because it's an actual skill. It's the difference between understanding how to ride a bike and like intellectually and actually riding a bike, of going from hello to yes. It's a skill and it takes some time. You got to play with it. It's hearing it. It is assured also, but it's harder than process mastery. Believe it or not, the hardest piece and what ultimately stops 99% of people, obviously, from reaching the top 1%, and then stops 99.9% of people from reaching the 0.1%, is actually self-mastery. So self-mastery will become more of an undercurrent of things. The reason I don't lead with it, the reason I don't talk about it a ton, is because it's the space we hear a lot about. It's what people confuse with motivation, what people confuse with inspiration. And let me be clear. I was not motivated or inspired to jump in the Atlantic Ocean this morning. I sat on the beach. I walked up barefoot, from my beach house. We got a whole bunch of people here and coming down for training all weekend. It's going to be amazing. And it was cold. My feet said, "What are you doing?" My mind said, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why do you make yourself do that?" All of these questions started circulating because I'm human. And I experienced cold, and I experienced pain, and I experienced fear. Like, not crazy fear, but it was a fear of, holy, cow, I'm going to jump in the water, and it's going to be freezing. And guess what? It absolutely was. I put my feet in, it was cold. I took another step, it was cold. I took another step, I was cold. And then I jumped in, and it was absolutely freezing. But at the same time, I've conditioned myself to come out and scream like, yes, 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 right? And to start screaming yes, clapping my hands, screaming like, woo, right? And my day is ready. And I couldn't wait to get on this phone call and talk to you. And I felt proud. I felt excited. I felt ready. I felt prepared. And you know what I felt like? I felt in charge of me. I felt in command over me. And how can I lead other people if I can't lead me? How can I ask other people to confront what they're going to confront if I can't confront myself? Their fears, their challenges, the cold, the feelings, the false feelings of rejection, and all those things. So self-mastery is the process about being masters of ourself, about being in command and control of what we do, what we think, how we feel. Wait a minute, you just said you weren't in control because reflexively you thought, yeah. And then I immediately, my conditioning kicked in quickly. I asked myself better questions rapidly. Like, who am I? Like, why am I doing this? Because I'm a leader. I'm an example of possibility. And I'm going to get on this call and talk about it. And better yet, I'm going to know about it. I'm going to know every single day that I'm in charge, I'm in command of me. Same thing I said last night at 10:15 at night when I started working out, instead of jumping in the car, knowing that would bring me down to Long Beach Island at 1 to 1:30 in the morning, instead of, let's say, midnight. And it's just what it is. So our self-mastery is the ability to get ourselves to take zone action, to be masters of ourselves. So we're consistently taking zone action, being aware that zone action pivots regularly. And we're like habitual creatures. We like habit, we like safety, we like consistency. And the world of business development acceleration is anything but that. Because new assets are consistently acquired, there's excitement, there's dopamine energy. At the same time, we have to make 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, we get to 10th follow-up phone calls in situations, because most sales move after the sixth, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th time we ask. Not to be annoying or repetitive, but remembering that most people are afraid too. And the process of going from hello to yes is a process of walking through with people through their fear, through their conditioning. But we have to fight our own conditioning, which told us to sit down, shut up, and stop asking. When I was little, and if I'd ask for an ice pop, my mom would say, stop haunting me. Like, do you want to be somebody haunting people? I didn't. So I linked up an association. Asking people for stuff equals haunting them. Don't ask people for anything, 'cause I don't want to be a haunt. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be somebody that gets rejected, as probably all of you did. Maybe some of you got through more easily than I did, than most other people did. And asking is easy. My 6-year-old nephew asks everyone for anything with like the lack of resistance that I've never seen ever in a child. He'll ask adults. He'll ask for directions. He'll ask why he can't have another pumpkin. He'll ask, can he get 2 more pumpkins for me and my mom to carve at his sister's birthday last weekend? He'll ask anything of anyone at any time. And by the way, he's got amazing rapport skills doing it. Kids that usually hit that space seem, more off-putting and rapport breaking. He's got incredible skills. What a blessing, what a gift. And I'm going to water and nurture that. And he's going to be just a preposterous influencer. He already is, but he's going to keep being one exponentially. I didn't have that gift, right? That didn't happen for me. Whatever the conditioning kicked in for him and the genetics that kicked in for him, because it's probably half and half conditioning and genetics. What a blessing. I didn't have that. You probably don't have that. But we're going to be masters of ourselves. So on this fun Friday, the question is, what are you going to do? And let me drop one more thing, actually, before I say that. And it's rooted first and foremost in our physiology. And we could talk about questions. We could talk about our focus. There's other stuff. There's lots of other stuff, a long list of stuff, but it's in our physiology. So I come out of the shower, I'm jumping, I'm making noise. I have music on. I'm feeling not where I want to be, and I'll jump into, because I think tore my pec off again, so I'm having a little challenge there. But I'll do body weight squats. I'll do a ton of push-ups until I feel as though it's a drug. I've never taken a drug, but I'm imagining what it would feel like to shoot heroin. Like, I shoot heroin. The heroin I shoot is called dopamine. The heroin I shoot is called endorphins. So I'll rip into 200 jumping jacks. That used to be a quick 100 push-ups. It'll be 100 push-ups again soon. I don't have time right now to get this surgery. But I will kick it in. It'll be 50 to 60 body weight squats, deep body weight squats, to get the endorphins rolling, the dopamine rolling. And all of a sudden, it feels like I've hit myself with this elixir of unlocking my superhero, ability, my powers. And so I want to offer that to you today to say self-mastery is zone action, understanding intellectually what it is. And in the moment, it's getting ourselves to do what needs to be done. And in the moment that getting ourselves to do what needs to be done, if we're not feeling like it, is to fill ourselves with beautiful drugs that we are wired to fill ourselves with, called endorphins and dopamine. And we're hitting ourselves, maybe a little adrenaline. We're hitting ourselves with those naturally, not with coffee, not with sugar. And I can reach for sugar, so I'm not judging, right? Like, sugar is like my go-to a little bit, at nighttime. And, truth be told, because I always want to be transparent, had, maybe 4 or 5 Twizzlers last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, probably suboptimal. So, like, I'm human. We're all human, right? But but I certainly did at 10:30 at night rip into doing back, buys, tries, and cranking music that got me in an amazing state. And woke up this morning and jumped in the ocean and screamed, yes, 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 woo! Just screaming, fully engaged, top of my lungs, by myself, out in the ocean, some blind dude. Like, that's the way to start your day. And when you're not I'm not by the ocean. Okay, I'm not by the ocean most days. Many days I am, but most I'm not. So it's music, it's bodyweight squats, it's jumping jacks, and by the way, consistently increasing them. It's fast movements. Yes, yes, yes. Screaming, getting myself physiologically engaged. Okay. So with that said, what is your self-mastery formula physiologically? And you go, well, I don't do that. Okay, do it. And we'll talk more about why to do it, because it's ridiculous not to. And the final irony of the world is, for most people, we do it at concerts. I had a fun, beautiful fun time with an amazing woman yesterday at the Blindness Foundation, and she was talking about how she sings in the shower and or she hums to jazz music and by herself. Like, okay, like why wouldn't you do that for your life? And other folks will do it at sporting events, cheer, yell, scream for their children playing and clapping, or a professional sports team, even more odd, of people they don't know. So what is it that is your formula you're going to be committed to? That is your question of Fun Friday. And how do you make it fun? And with that said, Fernando, do you have anything? We'll open for questions in a second, but anything you want to add on that topic?
Yes. So one thing that that was given to me as a gift from another human in the world when I was beginning my workout journey over the last 90 so days, and been waking up at 5:15 every morning, is don't make it difficult. Don't make it difficult. So as you talk about, what is your personal formula for self-mastery, my suggestion and opportunity is as you begin, don't make it difficult. Make it 2 minutes, make it 4 minutes, make it accomplishable, if that's even a word, accomplishable. So when you smash the goal, it builds momentum. Like my girlfriend, for example, Martha, when she started working out her first day, she did like 500 squats and she was miserable. And with all that pain, she didn't do any more squats for 5 days. And I told her it would have been better if she did 20 over 5 days instead of 401. So that's an example. It's an access. You could go extreme, you could not. My recommendation is keep the beginning stages simple in order to overachieve the goals and build momentum.
Yeah, and Fernando, no doubt. And for everybody, I'll give you an exact example, okay? So yesterday, I was tight on time, not because I wake up late. I get tight on time because I'm creating and thinking. So I needed to get downstairs and into the room and prepared to deliver and serve to just an amazing group of humans. Again, Pennsylvania Foundation for the Blind. And so I had a limited window to work out, and it was getting stressful time-wise. And so I had a choice. I'm like, okay, I could just skip it. But I knew if I skipped it, I wouldn't be in state to deliver. And I knew I was going to be on time. And I'm like, it's cool if I walk in 8 o'clock ready to go. It's better if I walk in 8 o'clock ready to go than 10 to 8 and just be milling about. Like, let's go. So I did 240 jumping jacks, just straight. I did 50 bodyweight squats, and I did a 2.5 minute plank. And my purpose, that wasn't my workout routine to get in the best shape of my life. It was exactly designed to be as short as possible, to have a full endorphin, dopamine, and adrenaline hit. It's exactly what I needed. Like each of those levels and each of those moments, I hit stress, I hit, a little bit of feel, and I felt the chemicals released. And that's all I wanted. That was my coffee. That was, which I would never do. But let's say back in the day, people would take cocaine in the 80s and go sell and do things. Like I've never even smoked pot. I don't judge, right? It's a longer story for a different day. I don't judge people, but I do judge its optimal nature, for being in a peak state. But of course, there's medicinal purposes. All stories for a different day. We will talk about all of that at some juncture. However, that's what it is for me. And that's what I need, because that was the hit, and I'm ready to deliver. I'm in a state of loving. I feel centered. I feel powerful. I feel strong. You want to feel that way. Like, what makes you feel powerful, strong are those chemicals. And they're so accessible, as Fernando just said. It's not like, it makes me crazy. People are like, yeah, I got to start going back to the gym. Okay, great, if that's an optimal place for you. But if you're going to have to go to the gym, there's a lot of friction. There's a lot of friction. It's packing a gym bag, changing, showering, time, all that, like car, like frost, snow if you live in a colder environment. Forget it. Like, well, you could go to the gym, but make sure that you're committed every day for before you get your day started, that you're going to at least release those beautiful chemicals into your body that were created, like, to go release. Okay? That said, do we have any questions about anything in the world? All right, cool. And if you're hearing me probably in a little bit more amped up state than typical, that more amped up state than typical is the byproduct of feeling amazing and sitting on the beach talking to you. Having my feet in the sand, it's in the 50s, my hood's up. You know, I got my Cayman diving like skull cap on, which I love feeling, so I'm in like super state. The sun peeked out for a bit. I could actually just got, you know, feel blessed by God because, you know, my vision is what it is. I just saw a bird fly by. I don't see that often. What a gift, because it hit my peripheral vision perfectly. It just happened. So let's start our day this way. Let's be this person. That's what's going to draw sales. That's what's going to draw marketing. But most assuredly, and more importantly, it's going to draw the life and legacy that you desire. It's going to make us who we want to be in the world. I am immensely grateful for this Fun Friday. It's been an amazing week. Complete this week powerfully. Put some time in on Saturday and Sunday. Give yourself that gift, and don't stress and struggle over it. Give yourself some of that gift, and also give yourself the gift of magic today, across the weekend, every day. For those that are coming down here, let's rock it and crush it. Couldn't be more grateful and more excited. I am Sean, and this is Unblinded Sales Mastery, and let's go make it happen. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Callaghan. Nate, thank you for your questions. Thank you, everyone. Let's drop some notes in the WhatsApp. And whoever's coming down, drive safe. And I'll see you on Monday. Blessings. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
You as well.